So, namaste and welcome to Satsang today. So, in Satsang, as always, we are looking to have the direct experience of who we really are, what we really are. And that is this formless consciousness, this presence of something that is beyond all forms and yet is deeply inclusive of those forms. And the best way to have a direct experience is to do some meditation. Let's do some meditation together today. And if you are new to these teachings, you might find that this meditation style is quite different to what you might have done before in the past. And if you're not new to these teachings, let's pretend that you are. Let's show up today for the first time, all of us, just as I am. I'm coming to this fresh with no ideas about what should happen in this time. Let's see if we can all meet from there. So we're going to do some meditation as usual for 15 or 20 minutes, which is enough when it's done consistently each day. And we're going to begin by just getting nice and comfy and finding a position that you can rest in as comfortably as possible, preferably seated upright, unless you have to lay down for some medical reason. But seated upright, as comfy as you can. And you can close our eyes if you want to, or you can leave them open, whichever you prefer. And we're just going to practice using the doorway of presence, the word presence, to guide our meditation today. A sense of presence. We're just going to be the presence that's here. What that presence is, we don't need to really dive into in meditation. We're just noticing that there's something present about you. So let's begin by being present to the breath. You're here noticing the breath moving in and out. And just let the breath move at its own pace, at its own time. Just being present to it. You are here, you are present. And this presence that you are is indefinable. We don't need to analyze. We're just here as whatever we are. We're just here as presence. There's presence of you in the body and the breath. And we're going to gently shift our attention to this presence. Just noticing there is something here that is you. Whatever that is that you are, it's just here. You're just here. You cannot be absent, you are present, presence. And bringing attention to the presence that you are, you might notice that attention wanders back to some phenomenon automatically. Some thought, some sound in your environment. And when we notice that attention has wandered away from presence, we can simply bring it back to the presence. And that's all we do in the meditation. We favor gently the presence. We're interested gently in presence. And when we notice that attention has wandered to something else, we simply bring it back to the presence. You're here, you're present. And presence is not shouting for attention, it's just quietly here. You're just here. Your attention may wander to what's moving, what's changing, what's coming and going, out of habit. So we simply bring it back to that which is silent, present, and here. When attention is on the presence, the body responds and relaxes. Just noticing the sense of presence. And if at any time you find yourself distracted by some thought, some emotion or sensation, it's okay. It's normal. We just notice and bring attention back to the presence itself. Can't see presence or feel it with your hands. But it is here. You are here. You are present. We may think that the presence is not that exciting, but if we simply become curious and interested, we'll find presence is a place that we can simply rest and just be, just being the presence. Simply resting as presence, noticing the sense of presence. I'm here, you're here, that's it. It's the simplest thing, presence. So our meditation is simply bringing attention back every time we notice that it's wandered to some phenomenon, some object, a thought, a feeling. Just bringing it back to the presence. Doesn't matter how many times attention wanders away, whether it's one time or 100 times. We simply bring attention back to presence. And we're not trying to keep attention on presence. We don't need to make it stay. We simply bring it back when we notice that it's wandered. There's no efforting here, just a noticing of presence. Just noticing you are here, you are present. This presence is before form, before thoughts, before movement and change. And yet includes all of it. So, in a few moments, we will bring this meditation to a close. But before we do, let's set the intention that we don't rush back to our usual way of being just because meditation is ending. Let's set the intention that we softly recognize this presence throughout our day as we move through our day or our evening. To just notice that you are present. From time to time, there is the presence of you, still here, still unchanging, still reliable. And so, whenever you're ready, in your own time, you can open your eyes, have a stretch, have a move. Maybe take a nice deep breath. So I hope that you enjoyed the meditation. It's a very simple meditation. Everything had to be simple for me to be able to follow it. And this way of meditation is simply bringing attention back to what is real and gently moving attention away from the unreal was profoundly effective. Somehow, in practicing this for 20 minutes a day, I'm setting my intention to notice the presence throughout the rest of the day. My habit of paying attention to thoughts first, to feelings first, and ignoring presence was flipped on its head. Somehow, I lost the capacity to focus on phenomena first. We're not ignoring phenomena, we're just noticing the presence and then interacting in our world, our life, our experience as the presence, from the presence. And it makes a huge difference. It becomes a habit. Somehow you can't pay attention to thoughts anymore, they just come and go. So it's well worth a consistent practice here of meditation each day, or as consistent as you can be for now. If you miss a few days, don't blame yourself. Just gently intending that you come to a consistent practice every day over time. We're all at the effect of habits that we've formed previously, paying attention to phenomena, thoughts, and all of that. So we're just turning that around in meditation, and it's develops over time. But right from the first time you bring attention to the presence that you are, you cannot suffer for that moment that attention is on presence. No matter what's going on phenomenally, you cannot suffer in that moment. It's only when our attention is on some form that we seem to have a sense of division, me and what I'm aware of, and then there's two-ness there, there's duality. When attention comes to presence, there's only presence and there's peace and an inability to suffer. So, as I said, I hope that you enjoyed that. And I'll open it up here now for questions if there are any questions, or if you have any challenges going on right now in your awakening. Feel free to raise your hand here, and we have some time for a discussion and an exploration. Philip, did you have your hand up? Here we
Yeah, I did. I pushed the wrong button.
go.
Mm.
I saw something waving at me on Zoom.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Um, yeah, what I'm wondering about that, I noticed that when I focus my attention more on my body, and um, that seems to help me a lot. Since it feels like I'm most of the time like over here.
Mhm.
Um, but on the other hand, zooming out also relaxes and helps me. And I know it seems a bit like two different movements, but on the other hand, it also seems that they're going to the same point somehow. I know maybe you can comment on this.
So when we bring attention to um, a phenomenon, an object. It depends on what the object is as to how the body is going to feel. So if we bring attention to thoughts, we know how that feels, right? The body gets tense and tight and all of that. And even if the thoughts are seemingly positive ones, still there's a subtle tension there. If we bring any attention to, for example, the breath or the body itself, there might be less tension, less activity in the mind. But eventually, even this, even bringing attention to the body, is going to become problematic for us because it's still an object. And
Yeah,
ultimately, it's a stage on the way through, but ultimately, we bring attention to the presence or we zoom out to the field that's here, another name for the presence. We're not actually focusing on any phenomenon at all, and it feels open and expansive and light. So this type of meditation, we're bringing attention to that which has no form, which has no shape. But we've got to that point by bringing attention to ever more subtle objects. And first, we might start our meditation looking at an external object like a candle or a flame or something. And then we might bring it to the breath later, a more subtle object, and then to the body as you've pointed to. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. But
no,
just
yeah,
noticing that something is starting to prefer bringing attention to that which has no shape at all.
yeah. But I've always a bit resisted those traditional meditation where you focus on a point on the body.
Mhm.
I know that I'm someone that have a lot of resistance in my body,
Mhm.
so I always try to immediately, yeah, go to awareness and stay there. Um, but yeah, I've some. I guess often when I think I'm doing that, I'm still somewhere in a layer of mind, and perhaps that's why I'm now. Yeah, I know. I'm feeling more the impulse to, because I'm still often in not, yeah, all over the place. Um,
It's
and
normal, right? Everyone will go through that. It certainly was the same for me. I bring attention to awareness or presence, whatever we're calling it, and then half a second later, it's wandered to a thought,
yeah,
and I'm lost in my head again. And I bring attention back, and it would wander off again, and it was like this the whole time, the whole 20 minutes. But just remembering that we don't have to make attention stay on awareness. We bring it to awareness. Oh, there's awareness here. Awareness is present. I can tell awareness is here because I'm aware of what these words are and aware of my body here and all of that. And not needing to make attention stay. It is going to wander again. It's totally normal. It's been trained to focus on phenomena, right?
yeah.
then it runs after the exciting, moving, changing phenomena for a long time. But just gently, when we notice in meditation, we just bring it back to that which has no shape. And even the mind and the body begins to enjoy that. It starts to feel just more, a little more open or relaxing. And there might still be thoughts in our head, but they're just thoughts in our head. They're not something we have to run to.
Yeah.
So not,
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
not blaming yourself if you find you're distracted 100 times in that 20 minutes. It's still a good meditation. It's 100
Yeah.
opportunities to bring attention back to what is real. So it's very valuable. We're not fighting with phenomena either. We're not trying to get rid of them. We just notice, oh, attention has wandered to this thought. Let me bring it back to presence, to awareness of that's aware of the thought. You can even
Yeah.
use the phenomena like that, right, to point us back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of judgment, and I wanted to do it right, and then
Yeah.
so yeah, I not want to make yeah these little steps in between. I want to do it yeah
But I
right
want my
in
attention
one take.
awareness and I want it there
Yeah,
all the time and it should never leave. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and there's yeah, I can do this. I've done this before. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
tied myself in knots with that for a while until I
yeah,
realized it is simply enough to bring attention back. Just that thing, not letting it linger on the thought. As soon as I realize I'm lost in thoughts again, I'm automatically kind of aware of awareness then, aren't I? I was aware of these thoughts so much so that I was totally lost, seemingly. And then suddenly, whoa, wait a minute, I was in my head again. But now I'm back in that realization, I'm back being aware of awareness or presence. It's too easy, this meditation, in some ways, too simple for the mind. It doesn't like it because there's nothing for it to do. That's why it kind of resists a little bit. Because day by day, something softens into it, right? You can feel something softening.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Helen.
You can't get it wrong, really,
No, exactly.
despite what the mind says.
Yeah.
You're right on track.
All right. Thanks.
Lovely to speak to you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to Sue. Hi, love.
Hi, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Um, yeah, there's kind of two parts to this. I don't kind of question, kind of reflection, but any as usual, any just anything you can bring would be sure helpful. Um, so the first part is it's about sort of I've had quite a bit of contrast this week, just gone. And it came from a sort of, I had a sense of kind of life opening up more and feeling kind of more free. And with that, there was this sense of kind of possibility and
Mhm.
kind of, really nice feeling and kind of that sort of sense of anything possible. And, you know, kind of then what happened was the something that I was suddenly I had the opportunity to do that brought a lot of kind of excitement and yeah, fantastic, real good feeling in the body and again that opening up, that expansive feeling of this is possible and something really wanted. And then what happened what happened was kind of a almost like a backlash. It feels like there was a trigger. And I guess what is a little bit of confusion about is this cause and effect thing, because it felt like kind of on the one hand, I've never felt, I mean, you said, and it helped a bit sort of remembering you say that sometimes then when you get feelings kind of feel worse than they did before, when there's been starting to be things opening or But anyway, that's how it felt. Feelings in my body of like fear, anxiety. And I was like, where's that excitement gone? It felt like something really is wrong because I had this excitement and now there's this kind of fear and dread. But then I could also, it was almost like I could see it so clearly, this trigger, and almost like the different mechanism of it in different bits. So clearly, but it did relate to something from the past, which is kind of a story. So yeah, I just wasn't sure what to do with that because I had been feeling like anything, just bring it on, anything that's just in my way that needs to be seen. Like I'm up for it. But when it happened, when this was happening, I didn't feel like that. I thought, no, let it go away, make it go away. I just don't like this at all. And I was doing breathing, I was doing everything to make it go away, the feelings in my body, and nothing. I'm saying nothing. I did sort of, it kind of lasted 2 days, but I did a statement process, and it actually did shift something. From feeling anxiety, there was suddenly like sadness there, and felt I was so relieved, and I felt kind of, that something had released. But I guess somehow in the more so much wanting it to go, it had to stay because the next day I woke up and it was back again. So in the end, it just felt like I don't know what happened, but it did. It kind of, maybe I just gave up, and it kind of just did dissipate. It was horrible, awful feeling, and coming from this feeling, and it was so connected with this feeling of this excitement and kind of really good feeling. So yeah, and there's a little bit of just confusion about, do I not kind of go into this trigger and seeing it, and when it's linked to something a happening of the past, it's just fear in the body. So there's a little bit of confusion around that. So that's the first part.
Okay.
Sorry, it took a long time.
It's okay. Because it's everyone's question, isn't it, as well? Everyone's had that experience of feeling some kind of opening, some kind of shift and a lightness, and maybe, as you said, even excitement. And then the next thing that happens is there's something comes to the surface, and our first instinct is to reject it. And when we ask, what is it that I need to see? Or, whatever's in the way, we might think we're asking to see some karmic patterns or some thoughts or emotions or something that need to be released. Show me those things that are in the way of me living as the real presence. But actually, what we get shown is how we're dealing with those, any stories we have about those things that arise. So fear came, and sadness, you said, and all this in the body. And then there was a tremendous amount of trying to do something to get rid of it, right? But could you have that activity going on, trying to get rid of these feelings, if there wasn't a story that something had gone wrong? So for me, I had to realize that when something expands and opens and enlightens, my whole frequency in my body mind is shifted. The next thing that's going to happen is something that's too low now for that frequency. Here's where my body and mind are vibrating. Something that's too low now is going to have to come out. It can't be hidden inside. When I think I'm a separate being, my frequency is right down here. So I don't notice all these other things. They're just normal, right? Sadness, fear, shame, all of it. Whereas I'm going up here with my meditation and my contemplation, my self-inquiry, this thing here is going to be more and more problematic, right? It's going to be more obvious. And it's one way of thinking. Showing us one way of thinking about things that is really becoming an issue now. So in the presence, there could be nothing wrong. Nothing is going wrong. But the mind says something is really going wrong here when some fear arises.
Mm.
What if we change that story to something is going really right here? This fear is leaving now because it's too low frequency. It's too far away from the truth of the presence. What's true as the presence is that there's only you and you're safe and you're lovable and loved and all of that. So just to notice not so much what is coming up, but what we tend to do with it. We automatically go into this pushing against, and we have a narrative in our head that something has gone wrong. I have done something wrong or forgotten something or lost that excitement and joy that I had before. What if this stuff has to come to the surface so that we can live from joy permanently, rather than it just being a momentary experience that comes and goes? So it's impossible to reject anything if we recognize that this is the process. And what lasted for 2 days for me became 2 hours when I changed the story, and then 2 minutes, and then 2 seconds. And then sadness and fear are coming, but there's still joy, there's still peace, right? Because we're not telling a story about it, which is in effect putting us into separation with it, what I think and feel about this fear. Just noticing without any judgment of yourself that there's this mechanism that moves to tell a story when something comes up.
Mm.
Fear arises and so does the story. Something's gone wrong here, right? I've lost that place. And just gently letting go of that story. I don't actually know if something's going wrong here. What happens when I move towards the fear rather than away from it? The peace, at least peace and contentment will be there as well, if not eventually deep joy.
So the seeing and allowing kind of parts. It
Yeah,
just
the
seems
body and
so.
mind, they have a shift and epiphany comes up here, and then something has to be released, right? And then if the lowest frequency we ever feel, we're closing this gap, basically. The awakened being is kind of, it doesn't matter what the frequency, it could be fear or shame or anything, but they have no capacity to reject it. So there isn't this big gap. You even said the word contrast, right? There's less, really, we're kind of doing this. We have a shift and then something leaves. We have a shift and something leaves. We have a shift and something leaves. And this gap is getting closer and closer all the time because we don't have any capacity left in the end to reject what's coming up. You kind of realize that's part of the process, right? I see what I am and then I see what I'm not. But let me see what I'm not without rejecting it, without judging it. It's
Yeah,
this simple idea that we have that it really never was true, that if I push against this, it's going to go away. It's never worked.
I felt really like that sense of, in a way, that there wasn't any doing because nothing was seeming to work anyway. The only slight thing that I kind of knew was that it was temporary. I don't know how. I knew, kind of knew it was temporary, and that was the only thing. But I just wanted to completely. It was just instinctual to want to be, for it not to be there.
Actually, what you really wanted was not that it wasn't there, but what you wanted, perhaps without realizing, is for not to go into separation with it, into relationship with it, right? Because there can be anything present in this moment, fear or guilt or anger. And if we're not telling a story about it, we're not in separation with it. That's what we really want. All suffering comes from a sense of separation, a division from whatever we're experiencing, whatever's going on in the body. So if we had to wait for all this stuff to leave before we could feel peace, that would be terrible. But we can feel peace right now if I just don't push against whatever is arising.
mm,
The moment it went away, you probably didn't notice, but when it left because you were no longer resisting it,
mm,
not because you made it go away. So we ask, we offer this kind of prayer, show me what I need to see. And life shows there's nothing I try to do works.
Mm.
And finally, when I stop resisting, it goes. So that's the kind of the message from it.
Yeah. It's like not even having a choice about that. I didn't kind of choose to stop resisting or anything. It just like,
You're not the doer, right? Resistance is there. This urge to reject is there. Fear is there. And I can just be here with all of it. I can just be present to all of it and not have to interact with any of it or even have the capacity to interact as presence. Resistance, fear, rejection, it's all just happening inside me, right? Inside you.
mm, that's, yeah, I feel kind of relief of what you're saying. It's, yeah, it feels like it's something about feeling, not feeling safe with kind of
Yeah,
what's
I'm in this
happening,
good
really. It's,
place, right? I'm in this really happy place and I feel like everything's going right. And all of a sudden, this thing comes from out of nowhere. And it's like, if that can just happen at any point and bring me right down, I don't feel safe. But once we realize it's what we do with that, not the thing itself,
yeah.
then we can always have that. Anytime our body starts to feel tight, I must be interacting with something in relationship with it. And I can just train myself to do the opposite, which is just to open up and be curious and to see what it actually is.
Mm, that's really helped. Can I just say the second part?
Yeah.
Don't want to, just about, well, it was just about the day on Sunday, um, which was an amazing day. So beautiful. Yeah, just wonderful. Um, there was a kind of sense with that as well. I realized there was a sort of kind of story of a person holding it together until the curtain, and then for whatever reason that something that kind of fell away, and there was I don't know, it was a sense of, I could have said it. It felt like there was tears and kind of a kind of sense of it being sadness, but actually, sort of when I felt deeper into it, it was about, it felt like unconditional love, and it felt like it was just initially, well, it did feel like it was just coming from you, and it was just, that's all that I could feel. But there were tears as well, and the story was about you leaving, and but actually it was just like the tears and the, but then it was like more this unconditional love and just that you were. And but when I suppose I felt into it, I felt like, well, this is arising here. Um, so, and also it felt like this is, if this is what you are, if this is what Helen is, it's not a thing. It's formless. It can't, how can it leave?
Where would
How
I
can it
go?
go anywhere? So that was like sort of, because that's the first time I've had a real sense of that, rather than just the idea of it, of just bodies moving. But anyway, so that was there, but also this sense of this is what is arising here. That must be me as well. And so yeah, I suppose it kind of stayed with me and stayed with me, and I was, and it was lovely. So that's another, I suppose, a contrast, but um, just wondering about somehow wanting to bring it into my meditation about unconditional love, but I don't know if there's anything of what you.
Presence, awareness, presence, consciousness is unconditionally loving. It loves all objects equally, right? This is what we're talking about with your first part. It loves even the fear, the shame. It wants to be present to it. Awareness is equally aware of everything. It's unconditional. It has no object that it says you should not exist. You know, it doesn't look at anything that way. It looks and sees itself. When it looks at fear, even it sees itself. to use awareness or presence?
I've never felt it in that way before with that, and I know that's just an experience. So even thinking, can I kind of do more in meditation around this? Might be a sense of trying to hold on to something.
If you want to just
Um,
be more curious what presence is, what awareness is, and how it interacts with things. I mean, it doesn't really, but it's it's equanimity itself, right? It's equanimous with every single thing that arises. If that isn't unconditional love, I don't know what is. It's just kind of a deepening of the sense of presence, what that really is. Yeah, wonderful.
so just wanted to say thank you for such a beautiful day, and thank you for you. And yeah, love you so much.
Thank you. Love you too. Thank you. For context, for anyone who's wondering, in our community, we had a gathering day on Sunday with some beautiful meditation and some kirtan afterwards. So thank you, Sue. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, we'll take Debbie and then Lulu, and we'll leave it for today. So Debbie, when you're ready. Hi, Lou.
Hiya. Oh.
Hi.
When we did the meditation, towards the end, there was a real awareness of quite a strong contraction. It's not particularly got any flavour or any story, and it just occurred to me that I don't know whether can we do that? Can we just look at that together?
Oh yeah, I'm up for that.
I
Yeah,
want to look at it with you.
yeah. But just feeling into it and just being curious what it is. What is it about? Just kind of listening softly. What is this?
There's still no sense of any story. There's just the movement. It's now moving up the throat.
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm sort of just staying with it, it's just it's getting more intense in the contraction as well.
Yeah. Let's just be really curious about it. Like, what actually is it? Let's not even put the label contraction on it. Let's pretend we don't know anything about it and just meeting it. What happens then?
Feels fluttery.
Hmm.
It still feels though that I'm trying to kind of get closer to it because it feels like I'm distant. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's curiosity, as if you've never seen it before. Like, what is this? Like like you would sit with a Christmas present that's wrapped up still, and you really want to know what it is. And you're excited.
So I'm aware then that there was a bit, I don't know whether it was always there, but my attention became aware of some peripheral tension, like the body kind of tensing against that maybe.
Yeah. Seeing if you can somehow move towards it, like close that gap between you and it.
And that's when I think feels like there's an intensity up into the throat. There's a physical
All the way up there. Just really get in there and like, what is this here now? Just gently curious. So when we're curious, whatever needs to move can move, right? It's moving now. It's before it was stuck in one place in a very fixed, firm location. Now it can begin to flow and move. Yeah. You might find it's just some kind of sense of fear or something like that that was just stuck in the tissues in the body, and it travels up the central channel, maybe it's at the throat right now, and it will just, if you just stay with it now, just gently, just curious, like it's a really good friend that you haven't met in a long time. You're looking forward to having a giggle with them. And the body knows what to do with it, right? The body's just breathing and relaxing. The body is so well equipped to be with these things, to let this energy move. What's happening now?
Like more of an electrical, like when energy feels like it's, that's how like an electrical.
Yeah. So it's moving from a denser, solid thing into a more and more subtle form the longer we stay with it, right? Just an energy now, right? Nothing, no big deal. And it's our resistance to be with it that actually keeps it in a tight, compact thing as we actually begin to move towards it, or to be with it, to just be with it. It can begin to move. It's just an old, slow frequency, right? That came from some thought sometime that got stuck somewhere and is now just saying, hey, can you help me out here? I need a little of your attention just so I can shift frequencies, is all. The body is like a converter of frequencies, right? From low to high. It's part of the process, really. Come into it with as much curiosity as we can. Wonderful. You stay with it like this, right? You stay with it now for as long as ride this train all the way to the final station. Wonderful. Well done. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll finish with Lulu.
Hi, Helen.
I love.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to share my experience, just a couple of minutes, and then a direct question about that experience, if I may. Thank you. So, for instance, when I'm presence of Helen Hamilton and a local Sangha, and I was very fortunate and privileged to see all these beautiful, beautiful beings. And what I see, for instance, well, I'll give you an example. Well, this body is moving, Helen Hamilton. It's like, to me, it's like gentleness and elegance are having a dance. It is so slow and so revealing in a way. I have no trouble to connect to presence immediately. For instance, Justin, coming to the room, I can see him now, is so much charm. And it's just charm that's absolutely overwhelming. And I can see,
let me just say something briefly here.
yeah,
We don't, with this being an open satsang, perhaps we just focus on ourselves rather than bringing people's names into it.
oh, sorry, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
I
okay,
understand.
just to protect people's
So,
privacy. No
and
worries.
the last is the lady in the beautiful dress, and I can see that the body is dancing. The body is dancing. So, and I saw, and I saw it so many times, and then perhaps I came to maybe a wrong belief that when you're together with people, like-minded people, it brings more energy and a better connection because there is no nearly there. When I am blessed to have the Sangha and the online community and WhatsApp community, but it's not, it doesn't feel the same for me. Is it because I got to believe in something special when the bodies are together in the same room? Or is it true? I don't understand that because it's what I want to join this retreat in November. And I'm guessing how it's going to be because it's different, isn't it, than to be in one room together? That's my question.
Yeah. Sometimes if we've had the opportunity to all gather together physically, we might actually be at a disadvantage. Although those who have never had the opportunity to gather together with the Sangha or the teacher, because we might begin to believe that it's because I'm sitting with this person or these bodies that this effect, this feeling is happening, this sense of presence. And whilst it may seem easier at first when we're gathered together, whether over Zoom or physically, it's whetting our appetite, giving us a little sneak preview of what it's going to be like all the time. Eventually, when we can't believe that in any thought, so for me, there was a real sense that I didn't have a teacher that I could sit with, and so I had to question these kind of thoughts. My mind would say, well, if I could go and be with a teacher across the country or the other side of the world, wherever, I would feel deeper and I would be that presence much more easily, feel more connected and all of that. But actually, all that happens then is that we stop thinking about things. When we gather together, we stop thinking. It's easier to stop thinking, paying attention to thoughts. So the life force rises anyway because we're not spending all this energy believing thoughts. And the main thought here is that we have to gather together or be with the teacher physically in order to recognize who we are. And it's just not true. It's really not true. Because this thought is in separation, it costs us so much energy. When we're sitting together physically, you're not believing anything. So you feel really good. But the mind says, oh, it's because you're sitting here in this room. That's why. But it really isn't. It's because you're not believing anything in that moment. So it's natural, of course, that we want to feel how we feel when we gather together over Zoom like this or in person. We want that all the time. Of course we do. But the way to have that is to recognize it's not with the gathering. It's beautiful to gather, of course, like this. But the moment my attention is on what's real, which kind of happens accidentally when we gather together, right?
Yeah.
You kind of get sucked into it. But now we have
Yeah.
to practice that consciously, right? That we can step into or bring attention to what is real, presence, consciousness, silence, whatever name we're calling it. Even when we're sat alone, for me, this intense desire, I wanted that feeling all the time, and I wanted it effortlessly. Whether I was gathered in a sangha or in an airport with a lot of people or sitting on my own, or whether there was fear, I wanted to feel that same way all the time. And that desire drove me to question every thought that was in the way of me experiencing this. As you said, bodies are just moving around. There's nothing different about this body than your body, right? The presence is not here, it's here. So wherever the body is, there is the capacity to feel the exact same peace and calmness and eventually joy and love and all of that. So what thoughts are there that need to be questioned? That's what I would look at, you know.
I just found this fascinating, but on the other hand, I thought that might be me making a story out of it.
I had it. I wanna go to see this teacher. I'm gonna sell everything I own and, you know, just which wasn't much, and give everything so I could go sit with the teacher. And I finally got to do that one time, finally right towards the end of my awakening. Well, not that it's really ended, but and then I came back again and all the same stories arose again because I thought I'd gone to see this teacher. I thought I had. And I thought the teacher was that body that was sitting in the other chair.
Yeah.
And I had to go, that's not the teacher. The teacher is literally everywhere.
Yeah.
When I really got that, it didn't matter where the body was.
I'm so glad to hear this, Helen, clear it up for me, because I've become really, really attached to this feeling. Yes, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you too. It's everyone's question as well, right? It's not a question always. So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. Thank you, love.
Thank you for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so, so much, everyone. Namaste.